Brochures are just Pinterest boards with lies.
Hot take.
You don't need a celebrity face, you need better plumbing.
Hard hat. Oh God, please, better plumbing, better CFO, better everything. Please don't have a celebrity face. It
Yeah.
makes no sense.
The real reason most projects are delayed ego, not approvals.
Hot take.
A well shot walkthrough video can close a deal faster than a site visit.
Hard hat. Oh yeah. Have you ever dealt with like international buyers? That's how they buy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I still don't understand, can people actually do a big ticket investment online?
Yep. Depends on what you think is big ticket and what they think is
yeah,
peanuts.
that's true.
It's about perspective.
The real bottleneck isn't land, it's egos. Welcome to Face to Face, Conversations That Matter, a podcast brought to you by Face Media Network and hosted by yours truly, King Porwal. Face to Face is where real conversations meet real insights. This podcast brings together entrepreneurs, industry experts, and thought leaders who share their insights, their lessons, and perspectives on business, finance, culture, and life. Through interactive conversations and honest storytelling, this podcast wants to inspire people to think bigger, act smarter, and explore opportunities in this ever-evolving world. This podcast is brought to you by Brick and Beyond, a corporate social responsibility initiative by Downtown. Downtown is a real estate development firm based in Mumbai and is focused on creating a redevelopment platform recognized for its transparent governance, thoughtful design, and impeccable craftsmanship. Through Brick and Beyond, Downtown is committed to spread financial awareness and empower the next generation of real estate investors. I'm your host, King Porwal, a real estate developer by profession and a conversationist by passion. Because let's be honest, good banter is as important as good beams. Now, today's guest is proof that legacy doesn't mean limitation. Born into a business built on bricks and rebar, she didn't just inherit the blueprint, she redrew it. From boardrooms to balconies, she's bringing a fresh voice, fearless ideas, and serious style game to the real estate world. You have carved a special space for yourself in this industry full of legacy names and testosterone driven tender wars. Please welcome the powerhouse, the next generation disruptor, and the ultimate multitasker, Navya Pahuja. Welcome to Bricks and Beyond, Navya.
Pleasure.
Thank you for being here. I'm really excited about this conversation because we seem to have a lot of things in common. We both are relatively young in the real estate industry.
Very young.
Yeah, and we both have a legacy that we are proud of. And both our families understand the importance that real estate has played in our personal lives as well. So let's start with some bits and pieces of where you come from, what your legacy is, and especially the story of your grandfather that you were mentioning. I would really appreciate if you can open up about that.
So back in the day when India was one big country rather than now India and Pakistan, my great grandfather Deenanath Chamanlal Pahuja lived in Quetta, Balochistan.
Baluchistan.
Yes, we're actually Pathans, we're Baluchi Pathans, we're Hindu Pathans. So he lived there and he had his businesses over there, petrol pumps, filling stations, real estate, all of that was there, and a little bit towards this side as well.
Dominated in Pakistan.
Yes, and a little bit towards Mumbai, Delhi, Gokarna, those areas as well. Now, when independence, all of the rights were happening, they decided to move here to India. So obviously you can't move your properties, you can't move your land. They decided to move here and they took care of the lands that were here in Bombay, Delhi, again Gokarna. They left the ones in Pakistan which were more. So he had to let all of that go and one fine day just move with his wife and his son with just the clothes, nothing else on their back, very less money, and just Lots of land, no homes, no like extra money to live off of, no businesses set, just land. Now, just land doesn't cut it. And back then, when there were no people to even buy those plots of land, no one had the money. And even the ones that had the money wanted to keep it, to themselves. They did not want to invest in properties. So they've been through all of that, where they did not get food for like a couple of days, where they had to sleep on pure mud. They've seen all of that,
Right.
even while being
So
landowners.
this is around the 1940s.
Yes, 1948.
That's amazing. Imagine this, right? If you were in their shoes, right? If you had that, that is the time you understand the indivisibility or uh, the lack of portability of real estate, right? What would you have done if you were that? You did you have a choice? Do you think if that was today, what would you do?
I think we can all. It's safe to say they made a good choice moving to India.
Yeah, they made a good choice.
Yeah, because where
But
India
what
is
about the
today,
assets that he had to leave
you
behind?
have to let go something. You have to let go because they made a better choice for their family, for our family. They made a better choice for themselves at that point of time because of the
Very
riots
smart
happening.
choice.
Yeah, they wouldn't have survived there because Hindus were not getting the best kind of treatment.
Right.
They would have not made it. So
Right.
rather move, let go
Mm.
of the past, move on with the new.
Mm.
I think they made a good choice.
Would they have, if it would happen today, would you be able to liquidate your real estate, let's say buy some gold and cross the borders? Or I don't think that was safe either.
No, that wasn't safe either. There were, my grandfather would tell me stories about how they've had to haul people inside the coal trains. They've had to bury people inside because if the women were too pretty,
They
people people would try to snatch them off. So they would have to, bury them inside coal. And if
To
they
cross the
survived, to
borders.
cross the border.
Goodness me.
So those kinds of things, I mean, that is where you don't think about land, you
Money,
think about
yeah.
living.
Right.
You're not gonna
You just think about
You
survival.
think about survival. You don't think about whether you're gonna get food the next day, whether you're gonna get clean water. You think, I need to survive.
That's true.
And they did what they did. And I'm proud of my family for doing that and
That-
making that choice because I would not be sitting here today
True.
if they did not make the wise choice and survive.
Right. And also, if they had more things, more valuable things in Pakistan, and they still chose to be in India, that's a big decision, I think.
And that was the right decision. So I stand by it.
So, even my family, my grandfather started my legacy, and he started by selling tractors to the farmers because in our area I'm from, it's called Neemach on the border of MP and Rajasthan. The farmers, the land is very good over there for farming. So he started off selling tractors, and then when my father took charge, he got into real estate and understood the importance of land. And he would always say one thing कि भगवान सब बना रहा है but ज़मीन नहीं बना रहा है, right? So are there any lessons from your family that has been passed down through generations? Any?
On the contrary, a similar one. Land alone will not cut it.
Right.
You need your brain, you need money, you need a lot of power.
Yeah, because land wouldn't come with liquidity.
Yes. You can have a plot of land, and if you have no money to build on it,
What do you do with
What do you do? You will have to sleep on it. Like
Right.
it's
That's
just
true.
there. It's on paper, then it's of no use.
Right.
So you have to make the right choice and you have to use it accordingly. Smart choices.
That's interesting. You need to have your wealth logged into land, but it
Yes.
shouldn't be, let's say, 100% of your net worth.
You can't have all your eggs in one basket,
Right.
especially real estate. As
Right.
volatile as it is. See, real estate is a business that you can never be in a loss.
Mm.
Long term, there will always be a profit.
Yeah, you'll make money off
But if you make that your primary bread and butter, you can live off, but the volatility of the whole, business is what's going to get to you.
it. True. And real estate is such that no money is enough money for real estate.
Arre, no, oh God.
Right? So you can have
You're gonna
100, you
bleed
can have
money, dude.
Yeah,
You're gonna bleed money.
Yeah. So I understand where this is coming from. Quite interesting. So let's move back a little bit. Tell me, like, did you always want to be in real estate? Did you have a dream job when you were a kid?
I wanted to be in marketing.
That couldn't be your dream job.
Yeah.
Like when you were a kid, what did you dream of becoming?
I knew I wanted to own my own business.
Okay.
And so I never did well in school. I always got the worst grades. But there was this very innate confidence in me. कि कुछ भी करूँगी, I'll make
खुद का
it.
करूँगा.
That I will succeed. That I can just, I can just leave my exam paper, date लिख के छोड़ दिया. I can walk out, but I'll do something with my life. So as reckless as that was, I don't recommend that. But yeah, I had that weird confidence in me कि कर लेंगे.
So marketing was your go-to
Marketing
initially.
is what I was studying, and then I fell into real estate. My family was into real estate before, but it had a halt. And dad and I then decided to, start again, rebuild
Okay.
the business again, rebuild, a lot of the stuff that we lost. So that is when I fell into real estate.
And what do you mean fell into real estate? Like, did you take the responsibility yourself, or like how, like, was it your choice? Was it a responsibility that you had to live up to?
It was a responsibility for sure, but my dad has been my backbone, honestly. I wouldn't be saying all of this in front of you if he wasn't, really the kind of support that he is. But I fell into it in a very literal sense because I fell into a pile of files and then I took a look at them and then I was like, okay, we have all of this, let's do something with it. So that is when I say that, okay, I fell into it. It wasn't something that was handed to me on a platter. It was just a sigh. It was left alone, and I decided to wake
It was
that
a
beast
wise
up.
choice for you to do
At
that,
that time, yes,
right? And you mentioned that you're the only child.
I am. Yeah.
Yes. Would things be different if you had a brother?
Oh, that's a tough one. See, my parents never brought me up to be the princess.
They did not.
No, they did not. I was put into MMA and kickboxing at a very early age. I spent my time in mud and boxing rings. So that gave me enough confidence. And they knew that. And they knew the kind of child that they were bringing up. They knew from my personality that I was never going to be doing a desk job. They knew I needed the thrill. They knew I needed the fight. Because by birth and by my confidence, I am a fighter. I'm someone that will fight any and every kind of circumstance. I will fight the obstacles, even though I might not be going in the right direction, but I am someone that is a fighter. And they saw that. They put me in the right direction there. So, to answer your question, no, I don't think things would have been that different if I had a brother.
So, but we've still been apart. Why I'm asking that is because I sometimes I notice that 70% of the people that work in my office are females, right? My head of sales, my head of legal, my head of finance and accounting, all of them are females. And there's nothing in this industry that I can do that a woman wouldn't be able to do. But still, you find there is a dominance of men in the industry. I don't understand why that is. Do you have an answer for that?
First of all, I would just like to say thank you for saying that. Honestly, it's really big of you to not, have an ego and say, you know what, a woman could also do the same job. Because I've met a lot of men in this business that say, oh, this is not your job. And
I don't understand why they'd say that.
patriarchy.
No, but
It's ingrained, right? It's ingrained in some of our brains, and it's not nice, but it's a big fight. It's a big fight.
But why do you think that this dominance exists?
Grown up that way. It's conditioning, right? It's like imagine if consider this. What if my family was someone that was more patriarchal?
Mm.
I wouldn't be here sitting. I wouldn't be sitting right here. I wouldn't be allowed to do that in the first place. Your conditioning when you grow up, my father's thinking would have been a certain way. That would have bled onto me,
Right.
so on and so forth. So
Your
it
family
is.
is sort of setting an example of how it should be, I'd say.
Thank you. But I think a lot of families are today.
Yeah.
At least in our
Yeah,
metropolitan
correct.
cities.
Correct. But like when I think about it, I feel that okay, so mostly the big real estate players are these legacy companies, right? Who've been in the business for a long time, generations after generations, and big real estate companies are handed over to the sons of the family, and hence even if they had their sisters or had a bigger family, the sons would take care of it, and that's why especially in the managerial positions, you'd see only men. Is that could be the reason that, you know, legacy is passed on from the father to the son. But
Daughters are unfortunately sidelined a bit.
you
I
think
have
so?
seen that, yeah. I have seen that.
Is it by choice, or is it do the daughters choose to not take up that responsibility?
Some of them, so honestly, I've seen both sides of the coin where the father has one thing to say, and it's always that, oh, if she's in this business, like who'll marry her because this business is so. Oh, yeah, I have heard a lot of stories like this.
True. Even I've heard like she's too smart to get married to.
I get told that all the time. My relatives are like, oh, God.
Is that a thing?
Yeah. Unfortunately, it is. And it's really sad. Why wouldn't you want someone intelligent, right?
Yeah, they'll
But
add that add value
but
to
the
your
older
family.
generation doesn't think that way. They want that their sons should shine, and the daughters should be the supporting wheel. I've seen a lot of families that aren't like that, and I'm really proud of those families where they've pushed their daughters in front, and even like they have sons and daughters, but they're pushing the daughters also equally. So it's those are the stories that are beautiful to even
I
hear.
like yours as well.
Thank you.
Well, that's really remarkable. I like that. So let's talk about, like, let's take the conversation further and talk about women in this industry, which is full of you know uh, men, dominated by men. The default greeting is also sir. So when you see let's say a female trying to break the glass ceiling and get into the industry, do you have a soft corner for them, or are you indifferent?
I have a soft corner. Oh yeah, I hate to say this. You shouldn't have these soft corners, but I do. Because I've seen what I've been through also. Even though I was sheltered quite a bit, I had some of the best teams to work with, immediate teams to work with. But in the bureaucratical positions and all of those other areas, they weren't as welcoming. So, having seen all of that, I feel like if I'm sitting on this seat, it's my job to push her just a little bit more. But that being said, if the person's not as talented, then I'm sorry.
I was getting to that. What is your take on equal opportunities versus equal outcomes?
Right now, women are still, we are making the chase, but we are still like lacking that.
Right. Is
We
it
are.
because so why I'm asking that is because there is one thing like you give equal opportunities to women in the industry and let them decide where they get at
Yeah.
in terms of their merit. Right. That is one.
Exactly.
Second
Exactly.
is you have a quota, like, you know, reservation for women. It's not a case, but it's just a hypothetical
Yeah.
situation. What do you want? Where do you incline yourself
Merit.
towards?
Merit. 100%. See, someone cannot be sitting on that seat just because of their gender, or just because of
Right.
the
I agree.
thing that they are born into. That shouldn't be, and as controversial as that is, that shouldn't be the case. You have to prove your mettle, you have to prove your merit, you have to prove why you deserve to be there, and then stand a chance, whether you are male, female, whatever. I think merit goes a long way.
So let's say you mentioned that you have a soft corner for women trying to make it in the industry. Do you do anything specific in your organization or in the ecosystem in general that can help women, or like is there anything that you've thought about, like as
So nothing that huge, but they're just smaller things. Recently, I had a couple of brokers that came into my office, and two of them were women, and four of them were men. Now, when the women are trying to talk, they're just talking over them. Arey, and then just like going forward.
the men are talking
Yeah, the
over?
men are talking over, and they're just trying to put that point, which is a good, intelligent point, and I want to hear that out too. So I just stopped one of them, and I was like, "Listen, you got to let her talk." Then I was like, "Okay, you talk," and she was just a little,
So that's a confidence boost for them.
yeah, yeah. Those small things are what we need. We don't need different seats, so we don't need different. We just need our
Reservations or
voice
anything.
heard. That's
Right.
it. And she had a very intelligent point to put out that none of those men had anything, of they were just like kar lenge and all of that. No, she has statistics to back her up. That is why I said, you know what, let her talk. Don't just talk over her just because you're a man.
That's true. And that should be the case. I think it should be all about merit. I agree. Okay, moving forward, let's say if we were to give women uh, an entrance to the industry, which is, see, we both have been fortunate that we've gotten the opportunity to be developers. It takes a lot of capital, resources, know-how,
Generational,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
a lot of things, right? Not everyone has that. But for someone who's just trying to get into the industry, devise a way, like tell me a way they can get into it which is low capital and like not very capital intensive. It is low barriers to entry and it is still rewarding. What do you think that a girl can do in the
First of
industry?
all, a girl can do everything that she wants, but something to just enter real estate with, I think, would be real estate broking.
Mm-hmm.
That's a position which is very welcoming of women also. And I'll give you an example. There's this one female broker called Simran Gupta.
Okay.
I think she is phenomenal. She's done a great job on social media as well.
In Bombay?
In Bombay, yeah. I know her personally too. I think she's top of her game. She's giving all the men run for their money.
Yeah,
Honestly, she's
that's great.
making it in that game.
And
So,
that's a very good point because with broking, all you need to do is pass the RERA test and have a
yeah,
RERA number.
yeah.
You don't need to put any money down. You
Exactly.
just
You can
need
start with the
interpersonal
contacts.
skills and
Yeah. Start
stuff like that.
building connections, build your contacts. Go to, different sites, ask that they have any, inventory.
You
Take
can
all
use
of that.
social media to
Yes,
promote
yes,
yourself
yes,
and
yes,
stuff
yes.
like
Today
that.
it's a lot more approachable than real estate development.
Hmm.
Broking is a lot more approachable, welcoming, easy on the pocket,
And also
great
2%.
returns.
Yeah, 2% on
I'm
the
giving
property.
3%.
That's
So,
great. Yeah,
yeah.
that's great. I think that's a good way to get into
And
the
as you
industry.
grow, you make 5-6% as well, depending on if you're taking a mandate for,
Mandate.
yeah. So, I mean, it's a great ladder to work on.
That's a very good point. I think a lot of a lot of you guys out there who are listening to this, you should take note because this is something that would just take courage and little determination to do it. It wouldn't take a lot of capital. Nobody's trying to hold you back or anything, and you have people like Navya who can support you, and she's
100%.
giving away 3%. I
Come
might
work
not.
with me, guys.
Okay, so let's talk about something that let's say now that these women are in the game, like they understand real estate now. But real estate has a lot of things. Like you have to be a developer. You need to understand what the developers, where the developers coming from, broking aspect of things, architecture, finance, all that. Do you think any particular segment of real estate is more important for someone to understand as a newbie than the other?
First of all, understand your legal.
Legal.
Legal, oh boy. That
Okay.
is your foundation. That is what you're going to literally build on. If
Right.
your paperwork is
Mm.
not right,
Mm.
you cannot as much as lay a brick
Mm.
on that plot of land.
Right.
So, all of your civil engineering, all of your broking, everything's going to go for a toss if your legal is not right and strong.
Mm.
All of that. So, I think that's your foundation. That
Right.
should be.
So like the title documents,
Yes,
like your
yes. Your
agreements.
convince, your smaller documents also, your PR cards,
And you don't need to
everything.
be a lawyer for that. None
No,
of us are lawyers.
no, but guys, study.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You got to study and you have to
yeah.
have the right guidance of the
You have
people.
to be able to talk to the lawyer.
Hmm.
Because, lawyers tend to, I mean, if you don't know anything about the subject, everything can get confusing. You have to be able to talk to your lawyer in that language.
Hmm.
So study a bit, do your research. Nowadays, Chat GPT, like,
Hmm.
come on, use it.
Hmm.
So
There are
just
many
smaller,
resources.
yeah, smaller. So back then there was no Chat GPT. I started with reading, like straight up reading.
Right.
So I used to have like massive law books
Hmm.
that I used to ask my lawyers, कि
And
sir
you'd
कौन
read
सा
that.
वाला पढूं?
That branches from the your struggles and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
to get your project off the
I
ground.
used to study at least 3 hours a day, just sitting with the law books and sitting with a pen and paper and just trying to jot things out. Okay, this paper is this. What is the importance of it? Why cannot it be like this versus that. So all of the smaller things also. Legal
Right.
is very important.
I agree. In fact, I'd say, like to add to your point, even I'm working on a project wherein that like I do redevelopment, right? So it's a different case from yours because you had the land and because but you also had tenants, so you
Tenants,
had
yeah,
your
yeah.
own struggles.
We
But
still have those agreements, yeah, yeah.
yeah, so we are working on this project wherein it's so complicated that the title belongs to a trust, right?
Oh.
And the trust had sold this particular piece of land to party number one.
Hmm.
Then he got a better offer from party number two. So he took the offer from party number two. Now we are trying to get in consent terms with party number one, the trust and the
And part,
society
oh boy.
to start developing it. And once we get that consent in place, we'll have to fight the party number two in court.
Buddy, you gotta eat your arguments every
Yeah,
day. This is gonna be tough.
yeah.
Oh boy.
So I know,
God.
and
Also,
it's
regulations for trusts are very
very
different
different. Like you have to
for
have
like normal
charity
entities versus,
commissioners and
oh,
all that.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
a
Congratulations.
yeah, cheers. But these are the kind of projects you end up making
Yeah.
an extra return because once you solve these complexities, that's when the true returns come into
Money
place.
and knowledge.
Mm,
Because in the long run, sometimes you might not make the money in that moment, but the knowledge that you gain,
from
it's your
those.
tuition class for
That's
life.
true.
No one can take your knowledge away. You can put your money back into the business and it can go like that.
Correct.
But no
Correct.
one can take your brain away. You
Right.
can rebuild that if
And
you've
then it's a
learned the
marathon.
it is, it is. It's an obstacle course, if
Mm,
not a marathon.
correct.
The obstacles are gonna come, but they're gonna teach you 500 things.
Mm, agree. So let's put an end to this segment by asking this. So we both are developers, right? And let's say if there's a newbie in the industry, they have to deal with developers. They are the people. Let's say if you're doing broking, they are the people who are shelling out money because it's an incentive for them also. But there's always been a myth with developers कि अरे सेठ है a big pile of cash
Oh
and
God.
this and that.
In our dreams, guys.
Yeah, yeah.
As much as we would like that to happen, can we actually just let that happen for once?
Correct.
It's not as glamorous as people think the business to be.
What is one or two of those myths that you'd want to
Okay, it's a very funny example. So I don't dress like this on the site. I dress in t-shirts and leggings. Reason being, they're gonna get dirty. It's I can't be wearing any of this. I can't be suited and booted. So sometimes when people greet me, they ask, assistant ये है कि ये like ये
ये
builder है
builder है?
ये really like ये करती है. But no, it's not. It's not like that. The struggles that we go through end up draining us enough to want to be sates. Like we just want the boat to float at one point.
Correct.
But yes, it is rewarding. So maybe in our heads we can be the sates that make a lot of money.
So everyone, like all the developers, have this one project that teaches them more than an MBA would, right? So I'll share my bit, and then I have a follow-up question for you for that. So I'm working on this project which is in Malad. It is right next to a BMC garden, right? There are two roads abutting the project. One is the main road around 18 meters, and one is a internal road which is taking you to the BMC garden. My project overlooks the BMC garden and has lifetime views of the BMC garden, which is a good selling point for me. It is a redevelopment project. Around 44 people live there. We won the bid after a fierce bidding war amongst developers, and we got onto the stage of getting the IOD, gave vacating notice, demolished the building, right? Got the plinth CC, made the plinth. Now, when I wanted to get the further CC, which is to build the floors over and above that, the garden department came in and told me that this road that you have taken into consideration as an internal road is not really a road. It's
actually part of the garden, so you can't really have the concessions as per your plans right now. So I had no other option. I pleaded, I showed them, okay, I had taken a survey of this road, and it shows that it is a DP road, and even in the DP remark, it's a white marked road, so that means a DP road. They didn't give me the permission for good 4 5 months, and imagine I'm paying rents for all these 44 people on a monthly basis. It was really difficult financially, and also reputational wise. It wasn't a good place to be in. So I took them to court. The honorable court asked the officers to visit the site and give them a report on this. And finally, I got in an order in my favor that whatever uh, there is, you need to obey and comply with the concessions that you've given, and they should be given for the CC for the building. Now, during this time, I understood and learned so many things. I spoke to the BMC officers, the commissioners, AMCs, DMCs, understood about law, and like how like what a writ petition is, this, that, everything. So that one project taught me a lot. Now you took, like, it took you almost 3 4 years to get your project off the ground. Tell me a little bit about that.
Oh boy. So, first of all, MBAs don't teach you a lot. Life
I haven't
does.
done an MBA,
Nor
so
have I.
yeah.
I think it's a waste of sorry, it's a waste of money, but maybe just get to work. That'll teach you more. So, my project Pahuja Business Avenue, my baby, my pride, took 4 years to get off the road because of a road.
Oh, really?
Because of a road. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Was it less than 9 meters?
No, it was 27.7.
Then?
So, in when DCPR 2036 came out, DP roads were changed. Our honorable MGCM has decided to run a DP road, 27.7-meter road through my old structure.
Oh,
4 meters through my old structure, which was
so that
ground
was
floor was
setback area.
done. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Ground floor was done. Through my ground floor, they've decided to put a road.
Ah,
Now, this could have been an honest mistake,
ah.
but it's obviously, I mean,
Oh, it
you have to
wasn't.
deal with it.
Hmm.
Now you can
Oh, so
go
you
to.
think it was intentional?
No, I don't think it's intentional, but I mean, it happened, right? Whether
Okay. But
whatever
you have
it
to
was,
deal with it now.
you have to deal with it. Now, whether I can sit there and think about, okay, why did this
Hmm,
happen? And like, oh my God, why is this happening to me? Or I can be like, no, okay, this has happened. Let's deal with it. Let's fight. So that is what we did. We fought. We fought for good 2 years, and then COVID happened.
Okay.
So 2 years it took us to actually get that road revalidated and
Oh, so you moved that road?
yes,
Oh,
yes, yes, yes. We
that's
got the
something.
commissioner's order to move the road.
Okay.
We had like a whole committee sitting and deciding I had to give a presentation. Like it was
Okay. And
grilling.
what was your rationale behind um, taking that road off your plot? Because
That the ground floor was already made.
hmm,
The ground floor structure was already made. Now, where there is a structure, you cannot put a road through it.
but
It has to be pushed.
hmm,
So, and they had this offer that okay, we won't push the road. You just take the setback and you make the rest of the
like two
building.
times the
Yeah, you
TDR
make
you
rest
get.
of the building accordingly. But that I wasn't gonna sit with. That
Okay.
was not a part of my plan.
Okay.
I was not gonna make that kind of a building where it was just a baby of circumstance. My project was not going to be out of circumstance. It was going to be out of
Will.
exactly. So we fought hard, and we won. Touchwood.
Wow.
So yeah.
That's something.
So the
For
road
people
was
out there, it is a very difficult fight to.
2 years. Your
yeah.
project is halted for 2 years, and nothing's
And were you
moving.
paying rents? You were. You said there were tenants.
Yeah,
on
there
the
were
plot.
tenants. Yeah. So it's been a tough road, and money bleeds in real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Money does. And when COVID hit, it was one of the worst setbacks to real estate ever. But now I think real estate is
Blessing in
coming up.
disguise, though.
Sort of, kind of, sort of. But at that time, it was wise to just shut down and wait rather than, continuing with construction, letting money bleed. And it was just about taking care of your people at that point. It was not about making a lot of money. It was about, okay, what you've made, you put back to the people.
So, given those circumstances, is there anything you would do differently now yeah, now that you have learned all these things, maybe if that comes down to your projects in the future, what would you do differently? And like if
I think it's taught me a lot of patience. I need to learn to be more patient. And back then, I was 19 when all of that was happening. Yeah, I was 19 when all of that was happening. And who knows a lot at 19? So I was just getting really cribby and like, why is this not happening? So I'm no longer going to be asking the why. We're just dealing with it. We're going with the flow and we're dealing with every obstacle in the 14-hour work day that you do. Deal with it rather than sitting and thinking, why is this happening?
I think that's a very good point. Irrespective of which
Yeah,
industry
whatever.
you're in, if something has happened, instead of thinking about why it has happened,
Deal with
just
it.
go on with your life and figure out what you can do now
Yeah.
in order to
Because
make.
it's a lot of time that you waste in just sitting and cribbing and playing the victim within yourself. You're allowed to do that for 1 hour. That's the thing, that's the rule with myself. I will give myself 1 hour to just be like, okay, let's just take it all in. And then after that 1 hour, it's like, okay, what can we do? Let's get a pen and paper down. Let's just, probably meditate for an hour, go to a temple and just sit, and then get back to the game and fight out whatever there is to fight. So 1 hour, no more, no less.
Fair. That's a good trick, I think, to be more efficient.
It
I'd say.
works.
I'm sure. I'm sure. So, speaking of like your future and what would you do differently, what are your plans for the future? Like, are you planning to expand the real estate business, and how are you planning to do that?
Heavily. So I never want to leave real estate. This is what I was born to do. This is what I'm happiest doing. Honestly, I can't imagine myself doing anything other than this. So expanding, taking up newer projects. I already have 3 in the line, touchwood. So just going
So these
towards
are
that.
greenfield projects or redevelopment
No, no,
projects?
no. These are just freehold lands that we go and buy out or we, invest in on JVs.
Mm-hmm.
Try not to do a lot of redevelopment.
Mm-hmm.
Reason being, the more people that are involved, the
Mm.
messier it gets.
It takes even more time.
Yes, yes,
So
yes,
are
yes.
there greenfield like the projects you take over or do
Yeah.
JVs with are that available on
Yes,
on a large
yes.
scale?
You have to hunt.
Mm.
You have to hunt. You have to manipulate, for lack of better word. You have to pursue those projects actively. But they are there. They are very much there.
Okay, and which area are you targeting, right?
So I want to take it area wise because it's not that it's easier, but your name, your brand name gets stronger that way. So Sakinaka is my home. Sakinaka is where the first project, the second project, all of that is happening. I want the third, the fourth, and the fifth to also happen there. Pahuja has to really, really shine in Sakinaka because we were the first forefathers of Sakinaka. My great grandfather owned 1 kilometer of Sakinaka. I want to get all that land back. 1 kilometer, I want that. So that's the aim for now.
Oh, so this Sakinaka, basically the intention is to build a brand in the micro market
Yes.
and then move to
Then
another,
move to other areas.
right? Like what my strategy is a little different. I'm focusing more on redevelopment because one, it is less capital intensive. Like if you were to buy land, it will
Fair,
be
yeah.
very expensive. Secondly, instead of focusing on one micro market, what I'm doing currently is I have one completed project in Ville Parle, Malad, Bandra, looking for another project in Borivali, so that I have a diversified portfolio. So, like what you are saying also makes sense, but my perspective is there are different cycles to the market, right? So there are luxury market is going up at some point, and let's say mid income markets are going at another point. So that's my perspective, just to have a diverse.
No, I completely respect it because see, there are pros and cons of both. For me, also, Sakinaka is a personal project. I have an emotional connect with it. So for me, it makes a lot more sense to put my eggs in that basket and kind of go from there because people know me there. I'm not new. People are not new. Regulations over there are not new. It's a machine like factory work that I can just do. It's faster turnouts. When you start off in a different area
It's from
altogether,
scale one.
yes, that'll take a little bit longer. Whereas just taking one area at a time, makes it like a machine. You're just oiling the machine, take care of the machine, don't just let it go stray, but it works.
So let's shift gears a little bit. Um, this is called hard hat and hot take, right? So I'm gonna throw like a opinion on real estate, and you have to either say hard hat or hot take, right? Hard hat would mean that you agree with it, and hot take will be you agree with it, but you know it's a little controversial,
Okay.
right? So let me shoot the first one. Brochures are just Pinterest boards with lies.
Hot take.
You don't need a celebrity face, you need better plumbing.
Hard hat. Oh God, please, better plumbing, better CFO, better everything. Please don't have a celebrity face. It makes no sense.
MEP is key. The real reason most projects are delayed, ego, not approvals.
Hot take. No.
A well shot walkthrough video can close a deal faster than a site visit.
Hard hat. Oh yeah. Have you ever dealt with like international buyers? That's how they buy.
Yeah, walkthrough videos.
Yeah.
But I still don't understand the. Can people actually do a big ticket investment online?
Yep. Depends on what you think is big ticket and what they think is
yeah,
peanuts.
that's true. That's true.
It's about perspective.
Correct. The real bottleneck isn't land, it's egos.
Hot take.
Vastu sells more flats than actual layouts.
Oh God. Yeah, yeah. Hard
But,
hat.
but I think that's very subjective. You think Vastu works on all markets or just like
Fortunately, unfortunately, yes. Now, I've read up a lot on the subject, so I can tell you no office, no house, nothing is going to be 100%
Vastu
Vastu
compliant? Yeah.
There are people that come in with like lesser knowledge and they're like, oh, ye theek nahi, and then the person will be like, oh, nahi, nahi, ye theek.
Yeah.
So it's a good day or a bad day,
True.
honestly.
True. Navya, this was equal parts insight and inspiration. Honest, grounded, and quietly powerful. Thank you for showing us the grid behind the gloss and what it truly means to build with purpose.
Pleasure's mine. Likewise, thank you.
So that's a wrap on this episode of Brick and Beyond. Every story leaves us a little wiser, a little bolder, and more curious about the world behind the walls. If this conversation stirred something in you, hit that follow button, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and stay tuned because the next story might just help you lay your own foundations. Till next time, stay curious, stay kind, and remember the best foundations aren't always visible, but that's what holds everything up.